What's up, beautiful people? Thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Dominique Galloway and I am a first-year medical student, an online coach, and a NASM certified personal trainer. And today I'm going to give you guys all the deets when it comes to the medical school interview. So let's get to it, guys. Okay, so let's get right into this, you guys. So I do want to say that most of the information that I got to do well in my interviews are from this book called The Medical School Interview by Dr. Jeremiah Fleener. So I do highly suggest it if you want to go out and get that book, but I will give you guys, the whole rundown for sure as well. So just to start, I want to say these 5 tips when it comes to just answering any question for the interview, okay? So these 5 tips, y'all, listen up. The first one is to be concise and memorable with your answers. Do not make it seem like you memorized your answer, but definitely come prepared. Definitely know the frequently asked questions, which I will give you, and have catchphrases for those answers so you don't seem like you're not prepared to answer those questions. So yeah, that's number 1, you guys. Number 2 is to be energetic, interested, and engaging. So definitely just seem like you're having a blast. You want to seem like you're having fun. You want to seem like you're someone they actually want to talk to. Just always make it seem like the school that you're interviewing at is your top choice. Even if it's not, just act like it is. So definitely be, engaging, interested, all that. Number 3 is to stay calm. And this is actually very, very, very important for every single question. Like, no matter what, even if you feel like you don't know the answer, always just seem like you do know the answer. You may be panicking deep inside, but just don't give that type of energy out to your interviewer. If you need a minute to answer a question and think about it, definitely just say that. Say that, okay, can I have a second to answer that question? Or can I have a second to think about it? And they'll say yes, of course. So just always seem calm, always seem prepared, always seem like you have it under control, okay? That's very important because as a physician, you want to be able to do that always as well. So you're just basically showing them, can you do that in the long run? So the next tip is to be genuine and relatable. I would say just to be yourself at the end of the day. Of course, it's going to be a professional setting still, but be authentic about who you are. Share what your passions are. Be real about them. Don't make things up ever. Definitely be truthful when it comes to all the questions that you're answering. And then the last one is be unique. So definitely focus on what sets you apart. You want to make sure that you can show that you are different than a lot of the others that are applying, and also the interviewees. You want to set yourself apart. Don't make yourself so different that they don't even relate with you at all, but definitely show them what's different about you that's really interesting, that's really something that's going to impress them. So those are my 5 tips for sure, guys. Definitely take note of those 5 tips. Now I'm gonna go into the 3 main questions in every single interview, I feel like. So let me just tell you guys, I got this from the book. These are the big 3 questions. The first one is, why medicine? You would think that everyone knows that that's going to be a question, but I feel like some people still screw up this answer. So don't think, oh, you just know the answer. Actually really think about this answer before an interview. Really, just think about how you're going to approach it. Think about the main reason why you chose to be a doctor. Of course, still be concise with it, but I would say honestly, start writing out these answers. These big 3 questions, start writing out these answers. You don't have to memorize it word from word, but definitely get a feel of how you're going to answer these questions so you're not caught off guard at all. They said for this question, it could be asked what is your experience in medicine? Do you know what you're getting yourself into? And why medicine? These are a similar question that ties back to why medicine. And the approach that you should have is just to show that you have seen the good and bad of medicine and you still want to be a doctor. So definitely show that you have experience in this thing. Don't make it seem like you have no experience. This is something that you've worked hard for to get to this point. You've taken the time to really see different specialties or to get yourself in clinical settings. Definitely show that you have some form of experience, or show why maybe, you know, a parent was a doctor or a family member was a doctor, or maybe some traumatic event happened that caused you to want to go into medicine. Whatever the case may be, you know, be real about it, be concise about it, but definitely show that you have seen both sides, you know, good and bad, and that you still want to pursue this career. The second question is, do you have the discipline and longevity to make it through medical school? Why do you think you can make it through this tough program? Like, both questions are pretty much the same thing. So you want to just show that you do have the discipline and longevity to make it through this program, and give an example of when you had to go through a tough time, go through an obstacle, overcome a challenge, whatever the case may be. Definitely show that you've gone through something that was hard, and then you had to literally learn how to persevere, and that you do have the resilience to get through that. And then at the end, tie it to medicine, how you are able to overcome any challenges that come your way. The third question out of the big three, questions are, have you thought about and understand the current and future state of medicine? So guys, this is actually a highly asked question. This is one probably that may catch you off guard. So I highly suggest thinking about this question, writing out your answer, thinking of catchphrases that can get you just remember, how to answer this question. But especially during this time, like, come on, we're in the pandemic, so there's a lot going on. There's a lot of changes happening. So this is something you can really think about. All right, so after those top 3 questions, guys, there are a list of other questions that I actually want to share with you all as well that are frequently asked, or even categories that are frequently asked about. And I do want to say though, before saying these questions, that what's really important when it comes to the interview that I feel like would just help anyone do amazing in their interview is to really know what to expect. So by this, I mean you can literally lead certain questions to be asked. So at the end of the day, this is going to be a conversation. Like, this should be and should feel like a conversation. It shouldn't feel like, this is just super uncomfortable and awkward. Like, it really should flow. It should feel like a conversation. It should feel like one question can lead to the next. So you could honestly lead the questions by your answers. So if you have a certain answer for a question, you should be able to expect what the next question is going to be. So I feel like if you can literally do that with most of these questions and find a connection between them, so you know what your next response is going to be for the next question, that can just allow you to take a whole load off of your shoulders when it comes to these interviews, because you'll know what to expect. And I feel like that's the biggest thing when it comes to interviews, is that we're scared, we're nervous because we don't know what they're going to ask. Of course, there's gonna be some questions that are gonna be just totally random, or like an ethics question, but for most of the questions, they're going to be pretty much like questions that you are going to be generally asked in most of these interviews, and I'm going to give you these questions right now. So definitely think about these answers and connect them with other questions so you're not caught off guard when it comes to answering them. So I feel like these are like almost 10 questions that are high yield questions. So of course, the tell me a little about yourself. Come on now, like, this is a big question. We have to know that. That might be the first question asked. So if you don't have that first question answer, that's a problem. So guys, definitely have an answer for this question. It's probably going to be your first question. If it's not your first question, probably your second question. So get that answer ready, y'all. It doesn't have to be long. It can be something short and sweet. Where you're from, what your hobbies are, your passions, something along those lines. Great. Oh, and an example of what I mean when it comes to connecting these questions, when you talk about tell me a little about yourself, you may have an answer that kind of like ties into medicine a little bit. The next question after that might be why medicine, or why did you decide to pick this career path? Because of what you said in that answer. So when I say about connecting, just literally figure out what question can be connected to that answer. So next one is, why will you be a good doctor? So this goes along to one of the tips that I said, what sets you apart. Definitely think about here, what sets you apart from the rest of the applicants. Are you really adaptable, culturally competent, all these different things. Especially think about all the different, the 15 competencies when it comes to being a medical student. You could tie in a lot of those things into why you're going to be a good doctor, you know? So definitely think about certain experiences though that definitely show why you will be a good doctor, skill sets, whatever the case may be. Next question, what would you do if you couldn't be a doctor? So this question is actually asked a lot. So think about that, you know, what other profession would you possibly be interested in? Don't say like, oh my gosh, yeah, I definitely want to be something else. Like, no, say like, oh, if it really came down to me having to not be a doctor, say, okay, I could see myself being this. Like, you know, don't be hopping on that answer like you're ready to choose another career. Like, definitely don't do that, guys. But yeah, next one. So what would you do if you did not get into medical school? So that is actually, I guess, kind of similar, but it's not. Like, literally just talking about medical school, like a cycle, I guess. So like, if you didn't get in this cycle, would you persevere? Would you apply again? Would you figure out what you did wrong? What you can improve upon? Things like that. So it's a little different. So next one is, what do you like to do during your free time? This is can be kind of tied into, you know, tell me a little about yourself. It could include some of the things you like to do, hobbies, sports you played, activities you like to do. Yeah, it doesn't have to be medically related, guys. Like, be yourself. Definitely be authentic with your answers. Next one is, what are your goals for the future? 5, 10, 20 years. It could be any of those, I guess. So just think about, you know, an answer you would have when it comes to your goals for the future. Definitely mention your goals for medicine, but you could also mention some goals you have outside of medicine as well. The next question is, why our school? So do your research. You know, before you know, attend an interview. I actually had all my interviews online via Zoom. I'm not sure if this cycle you guys are having it online as well, but I did research on each school that I interviewed with. Definitely figure out, you know, what your interests are when it comes to the school, why you're interested in the school. It could be, you know, the research emphasis. It could be a certain specialty that they focus on. It could be the collaborative environment. It could be the location. It could be multiple different things that, you know, definitely interest you for the school, but definitely tie into why they should want you as well. You know, it's not just like why you want to choose their school, but show why they would want to choose you to be a part of their school, how you align with their mission, all that. So definitely keep that in mind. Another question is, usually they'll end with this. They always ask, do you have any questions for me? And you guys, do not ever say you don't have a question for them. Like, this ties into my tip about you need to be interested, engaged. You need to make sure that they feel like this is your top choice school. So if you don't have a question for them, that's gonna be definitely skeptical, you know, rubbing them the wrong way for sure. So definitely have like about 3 to 5 questions prepared to ask. So these are some questions I would say are good to ask for the interview. I'll actually tell you right now. So some questions are there going to be any changes to the curriculum? What's the grading system like? Can you talk about the free medical clinic that is a part of the school? If you have a student interviewer, I would say definitely ask them about the cost of living, you know, what it's like finding apartments, roommates, etc. I would say ask about, is it a collaborative environment? Ask them what attracted them to the medical school and what do they think are the best attributes. Ask them, is there a mentor advisor system? Ask them, are there stable levels of financial aid available for the students? Another one is, what would you say sets your curriculum apart? What specialty is highly focused at your institution? How soon do medical students get clinical exposure? What's the population served in your specific area? What unique clinical experiences are available to students? What local population of patients does the school serve? Are there any special programs for which this medical school is noted? What are the opportunities for research? What are the policies for taking time off for research opportunities? Tell me about the library and extracurricular facilities. Is there a designated study space available? So yeah, those are definitely some great questions that you could ask. And you could also do more research into the school, so you have even more specific questions that you could ask. Yeah, guys, those are a lot of my tips when it comes to the school, when it comes to the medical school interview. I felt well prepared when I had answers to these questions, or had general responses at least to most of these questions. So I highly suggest definitely taking note of that, definitely being prepared. But most importantly, guys, when it comes to actually answering the question, if you do not know the answer, stay calm at all times. I hope you guys learned a lot from this video. I certainly learned a lot from the book. If you want to see more, guys, definitely subscribe to my channel, turn on your post notifications, and stay on the lookout for more of my videos because I will be posting weekly content. See you guys soon.